Hi everybody and welcome to the Scott Show. We're talking about all the different bowl games that are going on. I'm actually going to start just by saying that there are a bunch of bowl games, like way too many to count. I think that we have 78 teams in the bowls this year, which is an insane amount of bowl games. But I'm going to read them off to you guys, let you guys know what's coming up, what to look forward to. There are some great games even if they're not ranked. So, let's get to it right now. We start with the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl between Troy and North Texas. That's in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. Then you have the Auto Nation Cure Bowl at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. It's Western Kentucky against Georgia State. In the Las Vegas Bowl, Sam Boyd Stadium in Vegas, you have the Boise State Broncos as they will face off against the Oregon Ducks. That's actually going to be an interesting game. I would be very interested to watch that game. That will be on ABC. I look forward to that. That's on the 16th, so check that out next Saturday. Well, 2 Saturdays from now. Then you have the New Mexico Bowl in Dream Style Stadium. What a great name for a stadium. It's the Marshall Thundering Herd against the Colorado State Rams, both 7-5 on the season. You have the Camilla Bowl in Cramden Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. It's Arkansas State against Middle Tennessee. And all of those games, every single one of those 5 games will be on December 16th. Most of them on ESPN, but the Vegas Bowl and the Cure Bowl not on ESPN. Then you go to the 19th, the Cherry Bundy Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Whew, what a name! And that's gonna feature the Florida Atlantic Owls against the Akron Zips. That'll be a high class game right there. You got the Frisco Bowl in Frisco, Texas on the 20th. Frisco, Texas, I believe, is also going to be hosting one of the Division... It's either Division 1 AA or 2 or 3. It's one of the games they're hosting. But it's going to be the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs against the SMU Mustangs. You have the Gasparilla Bowl, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. It's going to be the Temple Owls against the Florida. It's the FIU Panthers. Florida International. There we go, Florida International. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Dear Lord, where did they come up with these names? That's going to be in Albertson Stadium in Boise, so it's going to be the Blue Field. It's going to be Central Michigan against Wyoming. Those games, that'll be a great game right there. And actually, the game before that on ESPN is the Bahamas Bowl between Alabama, Birmingham, and Ohio. Both 8-4 on the season. On the 23rd, we have the Birmingham Bowl coming to you live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama's Texas Tech. The Red Raiders face off against the South Florida Bulls in another game that I'm actually really, really looking forward to. So like I said, some of these games are shaping up to be really good ones. It is the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, the Black Knights of Army against the 10-2 San Diego State Aztecs. We have the Dollar General Bowl. It's only $1 to watch this. And it's going to be the Toledo Rockets against the Appalachian State Mountaineers. I don't think you could pay me $1 to watch that. I do apologize to those places, but it does not sound like the best game. On the 24th, you only have one game on the most important day on my calendar. It's Fresno State and Houston. They're playing in Honolulu. On the 26th, so nobody plays on Christmas Day. You have the Cactus Bowl, where that's going to be Kansas State and UCLA. You have the Quick Lane Bowl, which is going to be Northern Illinois and Duke. And then the Heart of Dallas Bowl, West Virginia and Utah. That's going to be another very interesting game. Now, on the 27th, you have 4 games on the docket, 3 of them on ESPN, as it will be the Independence Bowl. It will be Florida State, the Seminoles, they made it, against Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles. It will be the Pinstripe Bowl, the Iowa Hawkeyes against the Boston College Eagles. That will be a hell of a game, too. That's one that I would be looking forward to. Then you have the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl, Texas Longhorns against the Missouri Tigers, and then the Foster Farm Bowl, the only one on that day that will be on Fox, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Purdue and Arizona. Be an interesting game. Then you go to the 28th of December, you have the Military Bowl, as Virginia and Navy square off, both with 6 wins on the season. Virginia with 6 losses, Navy with 5. Let's see what happens there. The Camping World Bowl is your first big bowl with 2 teams that are ranked, as you have the number 19 Oklahoma State Cowboys and the number 22 Virginia Tech Hokies. Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. The Alamo Bowl is Stanford and TCU. And that's going to be one hell of a game. And then the game that I'm really looking forward to on the 28th is the Holiday Bowl, the long name of it, the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl at San Diego County Credit Union Stadium. I didn't know they had a stadium, but go figure. As Michigan State plays Washington State, which will be an amazing game. The Belk Bowl, Wake Forest and Texas A&M. The Sun Bowl, Arizona State and North Carolina State. And the Music City Bowl, Northwestern and Kentucky. The Battle of the Wildcats on the 29th. We go to the 30th. And we have 3 games on the docket. We have the Tax Slayer Bowl, which is Louisville and Mississippi State. We have the Liberty Bowl, which is Memphis and Iowa State. And we have the Arizona Bowl, which is Utah State and New Mexico State. Neither one of them are Arizona State. So I thought that was really kind of funny. In the Outback Bowl, we have Michigan, the Wolverines, 8-4, playing off against South Carolina, 8-4 as well. Another game I'm excited for. Then we have LSU against Notre Dame in the Citrus Bowl. That will be a great game as well, and a big-time shout-out to my good friend Eric, who will be watching that game. Now, we get to the games of the college football playoff. Now, there are teams that are not in this playoff, but they still get put in these other games, which would make it really easy to have an 8-team playoff. You just have these 4 games early, and then you have the 2 games, and these 8 games kind of switch off who's who and what's what and where they play. So do 4 games early, then you do the January 1st semis, then you do, come on, it's just that easy. Play day after Christmas, January 1st. You guys can do it. Come on. So, in the Cotton Bowl, we have USC, the Trojans, the winners of the Pac-12, or at least the co-winner. I don't know if they won or how they did it. Playing off against Ohio State. So you have the Rose Bowl game in Texas this year. Then you have the Fiesta Bowl as the Washington Huskies play off against the Nittany Lions of Penn State. Again, Pac-12 against Big Ten. Sounds interesting, right? Then we get to the Orange Bowl, where you have the number 10 Miami Hurricanes against the number 6 Wisconsin Badgers. Now, if you would have had a breakdown where you could have had 8 teams in the playoff, Miami would be knocking on the door. They seriously would be knocking on the door. Because in my 8-team playoff thing, you could not have 2 teams from the same conference. Or you couldn't have more than 2 teams from the same conference. So Auburn would probably be out. So then they'd move up to number 9. And then Penn State would be out. Because you'd have to have Ohio State and Wisconsin and the 2 ones that made the playoffs. And Miami would be your 10th team, or your 8th team. So, check that out, folks. That would be very interesting if we actually got that. But we don't. We have the Wisconsin Badgers against the Miami Hurricanes in the Orange Bowl. We have the University of Central Florida, the Knights, against the Auburn Tigers, with 3 losses and Auburn being ranked number 7. At least they get a high game against somebody big like the Knights. It's going to be one heck of a game. You got the semifinals of the college football playoff as Alabama faces off against Clemson, and you have Georgia and Oklahoma. The winners will face off in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where the Peach Bowl is held. A week later, you got the big championship game. Titles on the line, folks. Let's see who wins it. And it's going to be one hell of a ride. College football has been great to us this year, folks. I know that I complain a lot about having an 8-team playoff. That's what I want. But this 4-team playoff thing, at least we have a playoff system this time, except for one championship game. So I want to thank everybody for listening to the Scott Joe podcast and me talking about the different bowl games, telling you all 40 some odd bowl games. I think there's 39 bowl games. It's just nuts. So, folks, you guys have a great day. We'll catch you later here on the Scott Show podcast.